I definitely feel like something is genuinely wrong every day I wake up, and it feels strange. I don't think it's anxiety, and I don't think it's depression, and I'm not burned out. This is something completely different. It's like a background hum in the background, like radio static. You know, when you used to turn on the TV, if you're old enough, and like the fuzz would just be playing. It's like that. It's people feel flatter. I remember being a kid and people having a lot more spirit. The light behind their eyes was there. I knew my neighbors. Everyone was more friendly. The reactions that people had were a lot less, I don't know, calculated, less safe. They were more genuine. Now it's kind of like when I have a conversation with somebody, I'm literally choosing NPC dialogue boxes, and I feel like I'm choosing the wrong dialogue box every time I talk to somebody. It's like, am I sounding too sophisticated? Am I sounding too smart? Am I going to piss them off if I ask the wrong question? And here's my key idea here, okay? I don't feel surrounded by genuine evil. I don't feel like people are evil or they want to be negative all the time. But as it stands right now, we just have a whole lot of absence. And there's a lack of honesty in the air. When I go to work, I don't feel like I'm talking to anybody, particularly my managers. I genuinely use people that are in authoritative positions as like a measuring stick whenever I go anywhere, because those people have the most leeway when it comes to expressing themselves, and even they are playing it safe, and they choose to engage with you with a negative tone, and they might not even realize that's what it is, but it's acceptable, and that's what pisses me off. People don't even say what they mean anymore. There's like this double speak. I feel like everything's filtered. Everything's like filtered to be or have a certain amount of cognitive dissonance, and man, I'm trying to think of a good word to describe it. Like plausible deniability behind the statements that people make at you. The real emotions are replaced with weird sarcasm, not even legitimately witty sarcasm. I'm talking about like sarcasm where you genuinely know somebody doesn't mean what they're saying, and they're making it too obvious and it's not funny. And they use buzzwords, like corporate buzzword talk for like performance, or my manager walking up to me and asking me, "What you working on?" He doesn't care about what I'm working on. He genuinely doesn't give a shit what I'm doing. He's just accusing me of doing nothing type shit. Passion is treated like a red flag. The minute that you're too invested in anything, it's almost like you get a fly swatter on the knuckles. My family said that they went to Catholic school and they used to get a ruler stick on the hands when they would misbehave. That's almost what it feels like now. When you got caught carrying, you got caught actually investing yourself. You behaved like yourself too much. You got to send the emotional Gestapo to come here and stop you. Honesty used to be dangerous. Like honesty used to be a little bit more on the brave side if you were just a little bit more honest with everybody. I remember around 2016, I think this is when people probably, I last remember, were more cool with, being fair and upfront with each other. And now it just feels like it's socially illegal. You can't even be honest. And I think that's where this pit that infects the art, because I'm a photographer, and I walk around and I look at people. And when you are dishonest with yourself all the time, I feel like it shows up in your facial structure. It shows up in your body language. It shows up in I think it's called physiognomy or something. I could be completely wrong, but your facial characteristics and the way you carry yourself doesn't match. And you have this level of cognitive dissonance that just ends up making you look and feel untrustworthy to people that are more spiritually aware. That's what I'll call it. Spiritually aware. When you follow your instincts, because not everything can be really measured logically. You might not have specific evidence that somebody's a bad person, right? But you could just feel that the vibes or the energy they're giving is off, and you can't really put your finger on it. And that kind of goes into me kind of looking at the world through this photography lens that is my eyes. They usually say that the first camera that you see everything through is the eyes before you even snap a picture. There's people that genuinely look dull, uninteresting, dishonest, like almost evil. Like you don't want to, you can't paint these people. They are just, for lack of a better way of describing it, demonic. They don't even realize they're bad though. That I can't put it past them. I'm not trying to be negative here. They're stagnant. And then that permeates into the artistic expression now that I see. I don't feel like anybody actually practices what art was meant to do, which was be a free expression that elicits a certain emotion. We don't even have the full spectrum of emotions because everything's so sanitized. We can't express ourselves because I think truth actually opens up and allows love to exist. And love is a strong emotion, and hatred only can really exist when you don't understand something. You can dislike something so much because you don't understand what it is or what its nature is. And because we can't have free expression, then we have all these negative emotions floating around. Art used to confront people's emotions. Now it's just used to reassure. You can see it on social media. It's meant to like soothe people's interests now. It's romanticizes the wrong things. People look up to the wrong lifestyles. They want to do nothing with themselves. They think about doing nothing all the time. And I don't really legitimately think it's say do nothing. I mean, they want to eventually not have any obligations and have other people put food on their plate for them and do nothing. And I can see that because that's how my managers behave in my immediate workplace. They try to get away with doing as little as possible and getting the people beneath them to do as much as they can and put off all this stress. And life is stress. Life is something that is meant to be experienced. That's what stress is. It's you experiencing life, and how you interpret that stress is almost like a mirror. You can project positive energy because you're under that stress, or you can project negative energy. Everything that is a social interaction now just feels sanitized, market tested, algorithm approved, designed to not offend anybody, but yet be able to subtly offend those who can detect it. People don't make what they believe in anymore. They just make what won't get them punished. They make what's safe. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna rest on today. That people make what won't get them punished. I just think that's where we're at now. And another thing that I wanted to talk about today. So I actually have been trying to get a different job, and I don't want to be a wagey forever, but I wanted to get a job that probably suits my skill set better, because I have a background in retail. So I interviewed for a retail position, and the first dude that interviewed me was a little bit more grounded. I won't say he was like a third level individual, like somebody who's capable of understanding the universe and its secrets. Like this is just somebody who's really chill, and he's a little bit more in touch with different generations. I mean, he's an expert. He works at a retail chain that sells to plenty of different people, and I could feel the education and intelligence in his voice and the way he'd carried himself and the light behind his eyes when I was speaking to him. There still was a little bit of a gate or a wall up, but I didn't need to overcome it. I just felt like I was talking to a fellow man. And I passed this interview with flying colors, and he passed me off to his boss. And this is where we get to the point where I kind of realized that this simulation we're living in is BS. Because the next dude that interviewed me, and I'm not going to hold back any punches with this dude's a boomer. And this boomer is sitting across the table from me, and I'm pouring my heart and soul out saying I love doing retail. I actually did love doing retail. I like serving, being of service, because I'm, Christian, and I like helping people find what they need, and I like helping them feel confident. I like helping people cut the time down that they invest into, finding what they do need. People like being in and out these days. They have better things to do than spend hours and hours shopping around for something that, could be right in front of them, that if somebody helped them out, they could find it real quick. And, the first interview, from going from education and integrity and transparency, the dude even threw away the paper, right? Second interview, it just feels completely different. This dude is one of these boomers who fell for every psyop that happened ever since the 90s. Okay. And he told me to my face in the middle of the interview, after I got pouring my heart and soul out, that my ambition and my education and my professionalism, he doesn't think that it would get along, or I wouldn't play nice with all his other managers, or I don't fit into their little clique that they have going on. And I asked him, I said, what about all the positive traits you just mentioned doesn't mesh well? What makes me not fit like a jigsaw puzzle, in this? And I could see that I asked the wrong question. I must have chose the wrong dialogue box, because his eyes were just so cold and distant, and he genuinely was trying to find a way to tell me he didn't like me without saying he didn't like me. And he said that it's just somebody that is as adaptable and ambitious as me isn't always needed. And I just didn't understand what that even means. It was inactionable feedback. I call that inactionable feedback, when someone tells you something that you can't use to improve yourself. And I just have so much contempt for that type of person. They're gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping the opportunity that someone else deserves. They come from a different life standpoint, but I could just see that this person was the NPC that I'm talking about. The person who wears the mask every day, who has no light behind their eyes, who genuinely doesn't like interacting with others, has never felt love probably, or received it. And it started making me have contempt for life itself. And I just am sitting here trying to rationalize and tell everyone who's willing to listen that you shouldn't let that make you so negative. People who've given up, it's not your job to save them. You don't feel bad for them. Don't get angry at them. They are what they do, and what they do is their nature. And this goes back into me saying that you can't prove everything with logic and facts. You sometimes just have to feel things out. And some people will attack your spiritual inertia, and they don't even realize it. They are just puppets. They're driving blind through the fog, and you're the only person that interprets everything as a bright and sunny day and it's clear, and they run into you simply because they're stuck in their ways. Now, here's the core idea I wanted to share with all of you. When you stop moving, life feels like it's attacking you, so you have to attack it first. Be preemptive. Understand that, or accept that, you will have these negative situations happen. You will have people say negative things to you. You will have people prevent you from getting what you think you deserve. However, they can't stop you forever. And it's important not to argue. They can't drain you if you notice what's going on. And you should probably take people mocking your enthusiasm as a positive note, okay? If they're willing to go out of their way to say something bad about what you're doing, you're probably doing something right. I had a thought the other day. If you don't have any convictions and you don't have any enemies, if you don't stand by something and have morality, then you don't have any enemies. It's easier to get along with people when you don't have a spine. If you have something to stand on, or a flag that you like waving around that's yours, somebody's going to attack it and feel threatened because you took the time to think about having a moral compass, having that ground, having that spine, you know? They can't steal something that is intangible. Your energy's yours, and you might feel like, you know, the workplace is a farm that's just sucking the life out of you, but it's temporary, and you have to put yourself into a flow state and just focus on what you're doing and be mindful of that. So here's the real enemy The real enemy is people who lack direction and are easily pushed around like sheep. The NPC reframing that they have put on them their entire lives shapes them into something that is hollow. They think of it like this. You're seeing and experiencing life through not only your perspective, but you're capable of interpreting other people's perspectives, and you're capable of interpreting the way they see you and what they're probably thinking about you. And you can observe what they think about you. And there's this multi-level thinking going on, and none of this is happening from their side. So you're putting more investment into the interaction than they are, and that's why you become frustrated, rather than just letting the current take you wherever it wants. It's like a riptide. So the system rewards low effort. It punishes depth. It elevates a lot of noise that doesn't make any sense, buries sincerity, and turns attention into currency. And the attention itself is valueless, because if the attention had emotion attached to it, then it would be worth it. But I don't even think anything's worth it at this point. Final thought, consciousness is effort. You have to apply yourself to think about the self and think about the projection of the self that other people are putting on you. And putting in effort is now seen as an act of rebellion to people that are stagnant and sedentary. I think I'm going to leave off with that. I honestly just, put on my recorder and just talk. And this makes me feel a lot better. So if anybody is on board with me, understood anything I have to say, I appreciate you. And I'll be back when I have something else to share. Peace.